Hello! Oh, Lord. You know, the second I go on camera, Matt starts texting me. Okay. It's all good. He doesn't need me. We're fine. How is everyone today? Do we have our projects? Oh, there's the puppy. I swear to God, he is always sitting right behind me. Hello? How are you today? Do you want to say hi? Do you want to catch your pom-pom? No. It is not catching the pom-pom time. This one is the first official live stream. If you were here for the two before it, shh, those never happened. Those were just tests. This one's not a test, which means I will leave it up under the live stream heading, I guess, on the channel after it is over. Hello, everyone. Yes, Doggy is here. This is not a drill. It's not a drill this time. Goodness. Lots of people here. From all over the world again. It's always from all over the world. Which is so fun. I'm making waffles to freeze for breakfast. Oh my God, we used to do that when we were kids. Waffles and pancakes. And my mom would make muffins and we would freeze those for breakfast. We had a lot of stuff in our freezer. I don't know how we fit all of it. Get thyself to the stitchery. Yes, do that. No, this one is not a test of the emergency broadcast system. We already did the tests. Now we're doing it for real, which means I am doing an activity this time. Observe the whale. This is what I thought I was going to do during my test ones because I didn't know people were going to show up. We're going to dump that thing out. And by we, I mean I'm going to do it and you're going to be here. Because it is so full right now that I can't get anything else in it. It's like there's no more cramming space. So if you don't know, the whale is where I dump all of my scraps when I finish a project because I'm too lazy to separate it at the time. I keep all of my scraps down to like the smallest pieces, but they're in like 8 different locations around the room according to their size and their fabric type. And at the end of a project, I tend to want to clean it up as quickly as possible. I'm like, I'm done making it. Let's go edit the video and get this cleaned up. So it all gets dumped in here. And then every once in a while, when this gets full, I just have to dump out the whale, separate everything according to size and fabric type, and then put it all in its proper places and go back to filling up the whale. Highly recommend a 2-step process if like cleaning up from a project is difficult for you, because then I can like sit down and consider this an activity, but then cleaning up from the project can be like 5 minutes and I'm done. You know? It's handy. Whoop. Also, I must admit, I originally asked you guys for names for the whale basket in some video, I'm assuming when I first got him. And we never officially named it. I never officially named it because you guys gave me so many good ones. There were probably at least 2 dozen of my like top favorites. And I couldn't narrow it down. So I was never able to actually name him. I said, you guys can call him whatever you want. But yeah. Let's look at comments for a minute. Comments, chat. I'm new to live streaming. I have to get used to referring to the chat. I do know about the joke, I think. Isn't it like a joke to be like chat and ask a question? Sometimes I lightly know pop culture things due to Matt's presence in our house. But your breath is so stinky. I can smell it from you just panting at me. Isn't that delightful? The whale looks like its brain is exploding. It does. It's kind of a little sad. There was at one point before the last time I cleaned him out, oh, plant. There was like some pink fabric that was showing through his mouth right here, so it looked really cute, like it had a tongue. But yeah, this time it just looks like a disaster zone. I'm sorry, Whaley. And there's fabric spilling out. Good times. Buy a second whale is what I do. I could have a whole school. School of whales. Don't tempt me. Also, Joanna's gone now, and the whale basket went with it, because this was a Joanne find. I'm sure it's somewhere else. But who knows? Oh, yes, to answer somebody's question. I got it at Joanne in ye good old days of, like, you know, a month ago when we had Joanne. Welcome back from vacation, Alicia. Alicia? Could be either. Missed the tests. That's okay. We just sat here and talked for a couple hours. It was just me trying to figure out the technology for all of it, because that gets overwhelming for me. Which promptly I went to set up this one and I was like, I have forgotten everything. Put all the names in a hat and pick one. I could do that, I suppose. I don't know. I've been calling him Nelson in my head. Love that one. You can call him Nelson all you want. Yeah, with Cantaloupe over here that you can't see, the carousel horse. I felt like people gave a lot of good names for that, but I felt like there were like 4 or 5 standout ones for me. And the whale, I don't know, there were just like, there were so many puns. And I love a good name pun. It was just like, no way that I could narrow it down. Boop. Cool. But didn't Michael buy Joanne? I really don't know what the crap is going on with that. I heard that they bought Joanne's, like, some of their exclusive brands, but that's not the same as buying the store. I'm not really keeping up with it. I'm like, I'll just wait and see what happens. Make do in the meantime. Ooh, put a poll in the chat. Sorry, no, I'm not going to put a poll in the chat for whale names, but that just reminded me, I did want to put a poll in the chat this time. Here is my very serious question. It's not. On things like this, live streams is what they're called. Once I start actually like doing things in live streams, like embroidering or working on projects or whatever it is, I'm assuming there will be sort of, you know, quiet moments now and then. So you guys get to vote on this. In your personal opinion, are you fine with silences, or do you prefer for there to be very gentle, light background music? We're not going to do background music today because I don't even know how yet. But if background music wins, I will look into doing that in future live streams. I know for some people, when it's just like suddenly silent, it like triggers in their head. And then for other people, they can't stand background music on anything. So I'll let you guys vote. Pardon the weird angle. Look at the puppy licking himself while I type that in this thingy. And we'll have a nice silence while I do it. Oh, don't do that. Okay, that is that. That can just be going on the whole time. Okay. Yeah, we're getting some strong thoughts on here already. Believe me, I see it in the comments of the videos themselves. People do have strong thoughts on music versus silence. Michaels is now doing balloons. I didn't realize Party City went out of business. But that unfortunately does not surprise me. Yeah, so far, all of the Michaels I've been to in my area don't have fabric sections yet. So they just have like that one shelf of sewing related supplies. This will come up in a video you'll see in a few weeks, but there's not much there. So we are learning to make do in other ways. I feel like I am mostly hearing, as I scroll very quickly through these comments, through the chat, that people either prefer silence or don't mind silence. Which would be great, because then I wouldn't have to go figure out how to get music on here. I don't know how that works with the whole royalty-free thing, and then like leaving it up on your channel. I can ask Ariel, the lovely Hazariel, because she does music, so I have connections. Okay, enough of that though. Look at this clumpus of fur. Just what I need. Let's clear the floor. Time to dump the whale. Everybody got water? Drink some water while we do this. Oh God, he is heavy too. And there's a piece over here that I didn't feel like trying to cram in. All right. So the way that I separate my fabric scraps is small, medium, and large, and then knit, woven, but not good for quilting, and then woven, but good for quilting. I don't necessarily just want to be like quilting cotton, because I know I've put a few things in my for quilting, which I don't quilt, so I should say for patchwork. I know I've put some stuff in there that isn't quilting cotton per se, but like the non-quilting one is for anything that's like, this is not for quilting. It's like sheer stuff, silky stuff, shiny stuff, slippery stuff. It's always the S words. And the large pieces are the ones usually that are big enough to actually fold up and put back on the shelf. So there shouldn't be any of those in here. When I finish a project, if there's any big piece left, I do generally put that back on the shelf. So theoretically, we should have 3 types of fabric with small and medium in each one. Yes? Let me confirm that in my own brain. This is where my knit scraps are. That's medium knit. That's medium quilting. That's medium non-quilting. Tiny scraps are in there. Is that it? Why do I feel like there's more than that? All right, let's dump the whale. Oh God. Oh, this goes way further back than I thought it did. That's why he was so full. So my cozy winter robe snuggie thing, which was what, last year? We are halfway through the year now, which means I haven't cleaned this out in over 6 months. This was the jumpsuit that ended up looking like pajamas, 'cause plaid. These were the dresses made through random selection. Yeah, it's been a while. Good times. Let's see what else is in here. What did I use this for? I don't even know. Those are the curtains from the guest room. Pillow from the guest room. There's black material in here, which I'm assuming is from that. Oh, there's my leftover material from that dress form. We've got muslin in here. Green stuff. Oh, that's avocado pillow. Good times, y'all. All right, I should clean this out more often. Over 6 months, I have a feeling this is more like 8 months, is too long. Lord. All right. Let's see how this goes. I gotta back up a little bit so that you guys are... Or tilt the camera down. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just gonna like pause every 5 minutes and read the chat. Ooh, how's the stained glass skirt going? Well, you'll observe that that is just the petticoat and not the skirt, and that's because I started working on it again. Not actually like sewing on it yet, but I took the first step to putting more on there, which is probably what the next live stream I do will be. I have no idea when that will be, but that's kind of the plan, is to do some live streaming while I sew on the stained glass skirt. So, that is a thing that might happen soon. I'd love to see a collab with Ariel. I'd love to do one with her. I was very happy just to get to meet her in person. Like, we've known each other for over a year, but it was just absolutely lovely to get to meet her in person, and go spend a day with her in France. But it was so last minute, the, like, planning to get together and everything, that, like, we couldn't actually plan any kind of collab. It was like, let's just see each other and have some fun together. But it would be delightful to do an in-person collab with her. I'm leaning away, I shouldn't say that really, but I do kind of lean away from the not in-person collabs because I feel like they need a different word. So that's not entirely fair. I think it's really fun when two different channels do like their take on the same project, or there's a bunch of different ways that people do like long distance collabs. I just feel like we need a different term for it because it's not really the same as like two YouTubers being in a video together. If you're just like, oh yeah, and this person also did a similar thing, go check out their video. I don't know. Like, I like both of those things. I just feel like they're kind of different things. And it's really exciting to me to get to do in-person collabs with people. It's just hard to do because we live all over the world. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. It'd be great to do a collab with Ariel. It's not you, it's me dumping the whale. Yeah. Yes, it's Charlie on Alive. We're doing this now. I'm getting better at speed reading through the chat, I will say that. Also, if the AC suddenly turns on in here, because it's kind of too hot to not have the AC on, let me know if it's super loud. With this mic in this room, it shouldn't be a problem. But if it's suddenly like, oh my god, I can't hear you, everyone scream in the chat. The whale just upchucked. Upchuck is one of my favorite vomiting words. Upchuck and toss your cookies. It is weird. See, this is what I'm getting used to, is just like every once in a while pausing and just staring at my phone. It's almost like when you're at work, you're not supposed to look at your phone, like if you're in a customer service job or something. But then sometimes you have jobs where you get to stare at your phone while you're at work, and it's really weird. Are you making another video of the stained glass skirt? I am. Actually, what I just decided, you guys get to be let in on all of my plans. What I just decided, and what helped me get started on it again, is that I will be making 2 more videos about it. The whole plan was to do 1 more video where I just do the whole skirt. And that was making it like really daunting and overwhelming for me. And I already had like basically a full-length video's worth of stuff. So I was like, you know what, just make it into 2 parts. It's fine. So there will be 2 more videos for the completion of the skirt. Yes, those are the words that I wanted. Woot woot. Spot the Charlie. Yeah, it's so cool when we get to show up in each other's videos, and like it's just difficult because we all have our own schedules and we all live far apart, and traveling is expensive and takes time. So it's difficult to do, but like with the Evie one, it just worked out so well that like I could go to the conference in Chicago, get to meet her in person, have enough time for us to sit down for a whole day and film a video for each of our channels. And that was the same with Shannon. Like, I was actually there hanging out with her for multiple days. Pardon me. If you're on lives, by the way, I am just gonna burp in the middle of talking, because that's stuff I cut out in videos. But, like, we had time, so we got to make videos. We had time to do that. And that's always so much fun. And this is why I'm like, I'd love to do, like, small little YouTuber retreats where a couple of us get together and, like, make a bunch of videos. I don't know. Are we ever going to get around to this? Are there non-crafty YouTube channels you like to watch? I am lightly into the I don't know if you'd call them commentary anymore. It like Drew Gooden, Chad, Gabby Bell, a little bit of Danny Gonzalez. Kind of just those four, though. Like, I know that goes on way further. Matt watches a lot of the other ones with, like, I know Curtis Connor is one, and Jarvis someone. Like, it goes on way further with, like, that whole group of commentary channel people. But those are the four that I tend to watch. Anything else that isn't crafty maker people? I watch, oh god, what's her name? Now I'm gonna forget her name. Hannah Bales? She's a voice teacher who does, like, reactions to music videos and musical movies and stuff, and she's just a bubbly, fun personality. I watch her sometimes. I'm gonna say that's probably all. That's all I can think of right now that is not crafty that I watch on YouTube. Happy birthday, Erin. You can have a happy birthday the day before your birthday. That's close enough. Happy birthday. Losing one's lunch. Your favorite euphemism is unswallowing. Unswallowing is great. Another birthday shout out for tomorrow. Violet, happy birthday to you too. Everybody's birthday is tomorrow. Tomorrow's a good day for birthdays. I was going to say because it's a certain date, but I don't know what the date is for tomorrow. I never know what the date is anymore. The cabbage is stealing your focus. Oh, good to know. Well, also my camera decided to stop showing me things, so I can't see that anymore. Get ready for a weird angle. I think that should fix it. The cabbage wants to be the star. Oh, I do feel no shame about burping. Don't worry about that. I just know that it grosses some people out. So, fair warning is what I'm giving ya. Hi, Bubby. Are you back for a visit? Hello. Oh, tomorrow is Bastille Day. Cool. Do you guys do anything to celebrate that? Is it the kind of holiday that you're just like, oh yeah, that's tomorrow and the banks are closed? Or is it the kind of holiday that you go have a party for? Pom pom! It hit him on the head and he did not catch. Do you want to catch? Pom pom? Sometimes he's so into his pom-pom, and sometimes he just stares at me blankly. Let's separate some fabric. I'm gonna start with the 3 different fabric categories. So, knit. Lots of knit. More knit. Actually, I think there's probably less knit material in here than usual, just because I've done a lot of sort of varied projects lately instead of, you know, building out my wardrobe, because at this point, my wardrobe is built out pretty dang well. So when I'm sewing for my wardrobe, for stuff that I really want to wear, there's a lot of knit fabric in here. And when I'm doing experiments, there's less knit fabric. The puppy just burped. Do you burp a lot? He does burp a lot. It's hilarious. Someone once commented that they didn't know that dogs burp. And I was like, you know what? In all fairness, I don't know that I did before I got one either, because we had cats growing up, and I don't think I ever heard our cats burp. But trust me, dogs do. Oh Lord. There's a lot of this striped stuff. Knit material is harder to like figure out what to do with the scraps. It's hard to patchwork it. Although you could. I think it would be easier with a serger. That's the kind of thing that I'm like, I'm not sure I would want to bother trying without a serger, because if you have a serger, you could just use that to sew the seams together rather than just to finish the edges. And it should be fairly simple. You're just going to end up with kind of like a wonky, stretchy patchwork. But I think in the right use case, it could be really cute. But yeah, without a serger, I don't think that's something I'm going to bother with. This, does this count as stretchy? Yes, it's a two-way stretch, so this does count as knit material. What about you? You shouldn't be stretchy. No, you're not. I do have a project on my list for my knit scraps, which I've been putting off because it's one of those that I don't have any concept of how long it's going to take. I don't mind doing projects that take a long time, but I usually plan for those. Like, I try to do a fairly quick project before it and after it so that I can be consistent with my posting. So if I don't know if a video is going to take a long time or not, it can just be hard to commit to starting it because I'm like, I don't know. Should I plan for this to be a 3-week project, or is it going to take me 3 days? I think that was all the knit. Are you knit? No. By knit, I mean stretchy fabric. I know in some countries they don't really use the term knit to refer to all stretchy fabrics the way we do so much here. So I know I have confused people in the past because I think it was when I made that purple split-side dress that I saw a lot of confusion on Instagram, of course. That's where all the confusion always is. But a lot of confusion on that one because I said I made it out of knit and people thought I meant that I had knitted it. I was like, no. Lord, no. I wouldn't even begin to know how. All right, we've separated the knit, which means it's chat break. Woot. My great-grandmother would look at anyone who was scandalized by her burping and say, deadpan better out than in. Nanny is a hoot. I agree. I think people who don't like the sound of burps are people who don't burp themselves and don't realize how incredible it feels. I missed some. It's super out of focus now. This is why I have to come check the chat Did I turn my autofocus off on accident? We have more birthdays. Bridget, also your birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to all French people. Is that what Bastille Day is for you? It's just everybody's birthday in France. It's fireworks night. Okay, that's fun. We just had that here. I feel like when I was a kid, there would be like one fireworks show in each town or city. Let's just say there was no pause in the banging for about 2 hours where I live. Oh, the Tour de France is on Bastille Day, is what I'm getting from this comment, that it's on TV that day. That's cool. Camera focus is going cray-cray. Lord, me and focus, man. This is like a new camera, and if it decides to start getting weird about its autofocus, there will be words. I think it's because I'm far away. The further you are away, the more it's like, is that a face I see? Or is it just a smear? We'll see if that's better. Oh. He's gone to sleep. Tomorrow is also International Non-Binary People's Day. Woot woot. Go the NBs. Why is everything tomorrow, though? Piling stuff up all on the same day. Lots of birthdays. Have you ever mentioned how you came up with the puppy Link's name? Yeah, I talked about it in a video on the second channel. We literally... Oh, you're right, I can tell the focus is off. Come here, my baby. Focus on my face. We literally looked at a list of dog names online and chose one that we liked. We didn't have any ideas. Well, our first idea was Ozzy. Ozzy the Aussie. Which just reminded me of Ozzy Osbourne, so I didn't like it. Learning that snakes fart was a shock. I agree, I am lightly shocked right now. That's hilarious. How far does it have to travel, do you think? Where does it come from? Oh. I have bad vision, so I can't tell if it's in focus or not. Welcome to my life. This is my thing with all videos. When my last camera started having issues with the autofocus, I couldn't tell in the moment, because you're looking at a little square over here. I've never bothered getting a bigger monitor, because then you just have to lug that around with you, and it's too much work. So I would just constantly have to be like, I don't know, because if you come close to see if your focus is good, the camera's like, yeah, your focus is great. Look how close you are right now and totally in focus. And then you move back and it's like, wait, what? I forgot what my job is. I lost all track of your face. So there was so much footage. I would film the intro to a video and then have to go put it onto my computer so it was on a bigger screen where I'm sitting nice and close, and go through it and make sure that it was all okay. And there were more than one time when it was not okay. And I had to go refilm stuff, which is not a blast. Yeah, focus is good when you're up close. Yeah, it's being weird today. I don't really know why that is. It's good times. "7 a.m. in Melbourne, Australia. How's tomorrow?" Do you guys hear that joke all the time? Today is the last day for the Calgary Stampede. There's been fireworks for the last 10 days. How do the dogs in the area handle that? He luckily is not bothered by fireworks, like literally just laying on the floor, doesn't give a crap about it. So we don't have to worry about that at least, which is grand. Y'all are dropping some great animal facts in here now. Geckos also burp and fart. Very cool. Frogs have butt cheeks. Is that why I've seen several people who either make like ceramic frogs or crocheted frogs? That explains why, and they'll like highlight the booty cheeks. It's hilarious. Oh yeah, Link is not named after Link from Zelda. A lot of people assume that. But then also a lot of people assume that I play video games, and I don't. Matt does, but I don't think that really crossed his mind when we named Link Link. I mean, I lightly regret it now. Not that much, I don't mind it, but mostly because when people in person ask what's his name and I say Link, even though I really try to hit that L, 99% of the time they think I said wink, as in winking with your eye. And sometimes even when I repeat it a few times, they still think it was wink. And I'm like, I don't want to correct you because like you're a stranger I met on the street who asked me my dog's name. So I'm just gonna let you think his name is that. Good times. Is it possible to have pet yeast? Wouldn't that technically be like a sourdough starter? Yeah, that's what somebody else said. That's what sourdough is. We have jokes. Okay, I'm lightly caught up on the chat, so we're going to organize more fabric. Let me pull out the quilting stuff, which would be bee fabric. Here's my gathered sleeve example, all ready to go. I don't actually have a lot of this left over, but I really want to use it in something patchworky. It's so freaking cute. Well, there's a decent amount actually. I do have a patchwork project on the please do that soon project list. So that'll be fun. Start making your bets now as to whether it'll end up being rainbow colored because color palettes are too hard. I guarantee it will. See, this is not what I would call a quilting cotton, but it's a good, solid non-stretch. So to me, this counts as quiltable material and goes in the fancy trunk. Oh, this is a sneak peek. I used the strawberry fabric. That's in an upcoming video. You count. You can be quilting stuff. I don't really want to put the muslin in there though. I wouldn't really put that in a piece of patchwork because it's too plain. Blech. So that gets counted as woven non-quilting. Woven, comma, non-quilting. Same with this stuff. If I had less of this, I would put this in the quilting one because it's a little thicker than everything else, but it's just like a nice sturdy one. But I don't have a ton of room in that trunk over there, so I'm going to consider this non-quilting for now. All sheer stuff counts as non-quilting, although it would be very fascinating to do some sheer fabric quilting, which I believe is a Korean, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong and anybody knows, but I believe there's a Korean style of patchwork I guess it wouldn't be quilting because they don't quilt over it. It's a patchwork style that is done with sheer materials. Absolutely beautiful. There's somebody I follow on Instagram who does a bunch of it and makes gorgeous clothing out of it. 'Tis stunning. This is just like some plain white stuff. So I will count that as quilting or patchworking or whatever material. You never know when you're going to need some plain white. Ooh, Lord. At some point, I do think I will have enough tiny scraps to do one of those really cute, like, ottoman poof things that people stuff with scraps. That's kind of on the distant list at this point, because you do have to have so much more than you think. At this point, I don't think I have really enough for it. But someday I might do that one. You kind of have to do it as like an ottoman or something that you don't have to pick up much, because fabric scraps do get extremely heavy. Although I've been told it does help. Oh, this is my, I was like, what the crap is that? It's my avocado pillow mock-up. I have been told that it does better, which makes sense, if you chop them up into small pieces, because technically, like, it puts more air between them. Makes sense. I'm pretty sure I touched my glasses. Glasses life, y'all. The number of times that I'm like, I swear I was just sitting here doing nothing, and all of a sudden there's a smudge on them. How did that happen? I never know. Ooh, this can count as patchworking stuff. Again, it's just sort of a solid non-stretch. Works for me. That can count. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to do this stuff though, because this is getting towards the direction of upholstery fabric where it's thicker. You could still patchwork with it. But if I want to, I can go dig it out of the other bin. Is that all of the patchworky stuff? Ooh, there's the very little bit from my guest room curtains, the second pair, the drapes, which, that's actually, it's textured, and I don't know that I have any textured fabric in my patchworking trunk. But other than being textured, it's pretty similar in style. It would be very interesting to do a bunch of different textures in a patchwork thing. Yeah, see, that's really thick now. That's like almost canvas. Not really something I would patchwork with. A little bit more strawberry. Oh. Calm yourself. A little bit more knit. I definitely did throw some tiny scraps. I'm trying not to throw the really tiny scraps in the whale either, but just like keep those separate from the start and put them straight into the bag that I have in the closet, specifically for tiny scraps. I have not been successful. There's a lot of tiny scraps in here. Okay, pretty sure that is all woven non-quilting material. You get to be last because you're the biggest. Chat break. Woo! Woo! I had a sourdough starter named Bob. Nice. Is it possible to hook your camera directly up to your computer while you're recording? Yeah, you can use your computer as a monitor, but that's, again, having to lug something else around me. Y'all, I move so fast when I'm filming. I don't even bother stopping the camera most of the time. If I want to move locations, I'm like, let's go. And like, my tripod gets beat up because I'm like, I'm just like yanking it after me. So for me, the best practice is to keep my filming setup as small as possible so that I can film quickly. Not that I'm filming quickly, but so that I can set up quickly. So the newer camera has not been a problem. This is the first time that it's been weird with focus, and it might just be because it's live streaming right now, and that's like hard for it to do. Also, I did set it on 1080p when it's technically a 2160. I don't know. Boring stuff. We'll figure it out. If it's weird this time, that's fine. Hello! He's back. What's up, baby boy? You just scratching your ears? Do you want to come here? Hello? You're such a good baby. Oh, coffees. My sourdough starter is named Theodosia. Ha! God, y'all are good. There's always so many good puns. My mom's starter is named Amelia Doughheart. This is just becoming a sourdough starter name-a-thon. Love them. What about using scrap fabric to make a jelly rolled rug dog bed? The thing I want to do is similar to that, but I don't really want to bother making a dog bed because he wouldn't lay on it. He doesn't like dog beds. He's generally either on the furniture or on the floor. We legitimately thought when we put the rug in, we put a rug into our bedroom, and we were like, oh great, like now he's gonna love laying on the rug on the floor. And he has moved locations. He sleeps in a different place on the floor than he used to, so that he doesn't have to be on the rug. The kid don't like the rug. So I think he prefers laying just on the regular floor a lot of times. And yeah, we have 2 dog beds for him in the living room that he never even glances at. He's a little picky Pete. I missed the start. Why are we organizing fabric? This is from The Whale, where I dump all of my fabric scraps when I finish a project. And we discovered upon emptying the very full whale that this is probably 6 to 8 months worth of projects, and he was very full. So I'm emptying him out, separating all the scraps, and putting them into my actual scrap containers, of which there are many. A creative reuse store is still burned down. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, they did send me a message saying that they are working very hard on reopening. So hopefully that'll be soon. Ooh, a lampshade out of smocked fabric. That's a great idea. That would look really, really cool. The light would come through it in such a fascinating way. I'll make you my own background music. It's probably super annoying. What do you do with all of your knit and woven non-quilting scraps? I mean, most of them right now are still in the bins. Every once in a while, I did an exploration recently of like ways to make fabric with them. I don't make a ton of things that require stuffing. When I do, love to use up some scraps. So far, I just haven't done a lot of that, so I used my yarn scraps because it wasn't that big. But if I get around to making things that require stuffing, I will definitely use them for that. I made the hat. That is silly and fun. There is stuff that can be done with it, and it's like, because I have a YouTube channel and I purposely sit around and do crafty things and explore different options, I'm keeping all of it because I know that there are things I could explore to do with it. I totally understand if other people do not keep all of their scraps. Like, it takes a lot of space. Totally fair if you don't do that. I keep all of mine because I'm like, I need years of content, and yes, I have 1,000 ideas already on a list, but you know, should I ever run out of those, there's scrappy projects that you can do to use your scraps, and it's fun to explore that every once in a while. Is there a Discord for this channel? There is not. If someone else wanted to start one, you could. I do not have the mental energy at this time in my life to moderate a Discord channel because I would feel a huge amount of responsibility for what went on there. And yeah, I don't have the mental energy for that at this time. English paper piecing, that is a great option. I mean, I'd be interested to know how well that works out with like these fabrics, like if you tried to do it with not your traditional sort of quilting patchwork style of fabrics, but yeah, if you have any of like the just sort of basic good non-stretch materials, EPP is a great option. It is on my list. So many things are on my list. I did try it recently. I tried it at the H&H conference. They had like a little class in it. So we sat there and stitched a few things together, and then there was a company there that makes like the stencils and the cardboard things and everything, and they were doing like you could actually buy some things from them in person. So I bought myself a set of cardboard shapes and a stencil to go with it, with the plan to do that soon. How soon? I don't know. That's definitely like a long-term travel kind of project. So right now I'm still working on my Kanta travel project. Like, I always try to have one stitching project that could go with me on planes, on road trips, to jobs if I get one. So that's the one for now. EPP might be my next one. You made yourself a new dress, Emma. I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. It is seriously such a delight to make your own clothes. Oh my god, it's just... Sometimes I remember that I used to have to go shopping, and then I'm like, oh god. I never liked it. Some people like clothes shopping. I never liked shopping for clothes. I like shopping for books. Shopping for clothes always either bored me or stressed me out. So it's just really a delight that I don't have to do that anymore. When you visited Shannon, did you say hello to her doggo? I did. We went on walks with her doggo and did cuddles and lots of pets. It was very nice. Cannell is a little darling with a very wiggly butt. You have to fold laundry. We're here. Separating fabric, folding laundry, Chill with us. You need a Leviathan whale basket, right? Then I wouldn't have to empty it for a few years. Woo! But then it would be such a pain in the butt to have to empty it. I do love the size of this one. The general idea is that I can't fit more than like 6 months worth of scraps in here, so then I have to clean it out, which I think is good to have to do that. You could learn how to make whale baskets. Look. Don't tempt me. So many of y'all, when I do something new in a video, are like, how dare you give me a new project? But then you guys give me ideas and comments all the time too. Like, probably at least 20% of my project ideas at this point come from like people saying things in the comments. So it's just a circle of creativity and endless project lists. The best. Would smocking with a denser fabric work as a sound panel? I think possibly, maybe not. We're going to get lightly technical here because I know something about sound panels because of Matt. Possibly not as a sound panel. I think that you could make sound panels by shredding fabric. In fact, I think there's somebody that I follow who does this or is trying this. My armpits are sweaty. But it's okay, the AC is on. Is that annoying anyone? There's somebody who like does a bunch of experiments with creating textiles out of waste. And she just was doing stuff that she was like, this could potentially be either insulation or sound panels. So I think for a sound panel and for what those do, it would probably be better to like really shred up fabric and then clump it back together somehow. But Matt has these in his studios, and I didn't know about these until he made his first studio, but he said that in like the back of a sound studio, there's supposed to be, they can be various things, but there's like things on the wall that have different levels to them. Literally, like there's some engineer somewhere that uses a bookcase full of books, but all of the books are stuck out to different levels. The ones Matt has is like a square piece of wood that has a bunch of, kind of like the trinket shelves I was showing, but in each of the little pockets, the wood is at a different level. That would be interesting to do with smocking. You could make like a giant piece of smocking, put it in a frame, and then like stuff things in the different holes to make them at different levels. I don't know if that just got way over everybody's head, but woohoo! Does your dog sleep in bed with you? He's allowed to. He usually doesn't, though. He honestly, like, as soon as I turn out the lights, he usually leaves. But he is allowed to be in bed, and he usually likes to lay on the end of our bed. But yeah, once we turn out the lights, he usually leaves, and he either lays on the floor, or he goes in the guest bedroom, which is why we, like, say the guest bedroom is his, because he usually goes in there and sleeps under the bed in there. It's just his, like, preference. He needs his alone time or whatever. Are you going to get a serger? I still have no plans to get a serger at the moment. I am sure sometime in my life I will probably end up getting a serger. Have you ever considered creating digital patterns for garments? I've considered it in like a I'm never gonna do that way. Which, I'm sorry about that, but I am, one, a big fan of and advocate for learning to self-draft. Like this does not need a pattern. If you saw the video on it, it's literally folding a piece of fabric in half and cutting a slit in it. Like, that's it. And then if you like add binding and you add You can add cuffs like I did, but you don't have to. So like no pattern is needed for this. The whole point is that it doesn't need a pattern. So like there's that aspect of it, that it's not something I like doing. There's also the aspect that creating digital patterns, creating any kind of clothing pattern, is quite a complicated process. People go to like intense classes about it. I would not be comfortable releasing patterns that were not size inclusive, which means you have to learn how to grade patterns. I would not be comfortable releasing patterns that hadn't been tested, so now you're having to do a tester call. It's a big thing, which is why people who are pattern makers usually are pattern makers. That's like their first and foremost thing. And I think there are plenty of people out there doing that. I don't need to throw my hat into that ring. It would be unpleasant for me, and yeah, it would not end well. I'm making a patchwork curtain for my front door. I love that. That's a really fun idea. I would put patchwork curtains everywhere. I need to find some room. This room doesn't have curtains because it just seems entirely unnecessary. But I need to find some room where I can make some really cute patchwork curtains to go with it. Possibly in my office whenever I get around to doing that renovation. Patchwork curtains would be fun. I finally got 7349 copied out. Woot woot! A couple people have been telling me that they finally found that pattern, or they finally made a dress out of it. It's a good one. Waiting for my fabric to pre-wash. Life. Ever since I got all good and had to start pre-washing things, it's like... Oh, hold on. Weird angle. Thank you, camera. Doing my nails for the first time in forever. Girl. I considered it and the answer is no. That needs to be a thing. Sometimes you can give something about 5 seconds of thought and be like, I don't want to do that, and that's meaningful. If you can decide that you don't want to do something that quickly, probably means you don't want to do something. Did you take a self-drafting class or just figure it out as you went? I just figured it out as I went. Literally the entire journey is on my YouTube channel. The first garment I ever sewed for myself is back there in a video. So, sometimes I forget how long I've been doing this. But if you wanted to, you could go through and you could watch my entire sewing journey. I think there's maybe 3 garments I've ever made not in a video. So it is all there for you to see. Lots of long videos of me talking a lot and trying to explain things and getting confused and staring into space. It's good times. Patchwork shower curtain. That would be so pretty. Ooh, especially if you did it like in the sheer fabrics with some, the French seams and everything, and then put like a clear plastic one behind it so light would shine through. That'd be fun. Will the live get saved? Yes, this is the official first live, and it will be saved on the channel, which should be happening from now on, unless something weird happens. Oh yeah, see, I love this suggestion. If anyone is interested in self-drafting a pattern, check out Closet Historian. Closet Historian is an incredible resource for learning how to self-draft and how to make your own patterns and stuff like that. Absolutely utilize her. Her videos are way more informative, I would say, than mine, because she is actually like an experienced professional instead of someone who's just like and then sees how it goes. What's the craft of the live? It's a simple, it's not a craft, we're organizing fabric, which I need to do another round of in a second. So last question for now. Have you made any clothes for Matt? No, not yet. I do have a project plan that's sort of a goofy fun one that would involve making him an outfit. Don't know when I'll get around to that. But as far as like legitimately making him clothes, y'all, he's picky. Which is fine, because I'm also picky, which is why I make myself clothes, because then I get to be picky, and I get to accommodate my pickiness with my handmade clothes. Matt and I have talked about it. Sorry about that. I swallow water incorrectly a lot, y'all. Anyway, we talk about it sometimes. Like, I think one time when he was in the fabric store with me, I had him, like, touch fabrics, because he does like certain fabrics the way that I do. But yeah, like, for the amount of time and effort that has to go into making something, he's just the kind of person who might, like, put it on one time and then be like, I don't like this. And that's just who he is, and he's not going to pretend he does like it, and that's fine. But that slightly puts me off from, like, trying to make clothes for him. It just feels like a lot of thought needs to go into the before the making to make sure that it's, like, a fabric he's really going to like. It also just wouldn't be that interesting for me, let's be real, because he mostly lives in, like, shorts and t-shirts. Like, that's what he's comfortable in. He doesn't really have a desire to explore anything further than that at this time in his life. So it's like, should I go through the hassle of trying to make you a t-shirt when you could just go buy one that you're going to prefer? I don't know. Also, I will say, making clothes for other people in general still scares the crap out of me. Because it's a lot more pressure, you know. Like, one, you're trying to fit another body, which just seems like a pain in the butt, because the number of times I try on my stuff as I go is high. I am frequently trying stuff on, to the point where, like, there's certain clothing I'll wear on days when I know it's gonna be, like, a try-on heavy day that's, like, easy to get in and out of, and quite frequently, with the camera off, or sometimes with it on and I just don't use that footage, I just sew naked, because I'm tired of getting undressed and redressed to try on clothing. So when it comes to having another person you're sewing for, I'm like, that's how I operate. I'm not, like, drafting a pattern and using measurements and math. That's not the kind of sewing I do. So if I'm sewing for somebody else and I can't just, like, make them try it on every 7 to 11 minutes, I don't know how well that would turn out, you know? And that's not really an option when you're sewing for someone else. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's super conducive to the type of sewing I do. That being said, the last time my sister and my stepmom were here, they did, like, a little exploration of my closet, especially my stepmom, tried on a bunch of my clothing, especially all the stuff that I made that is supposed to be adjustable in size, because we are kind of 3 different sizes, the 3 of us. So it was really interesting to have them try on some of my adjustable clothing and see if it's actually adjustable, because no one else had ever tried it on before. So I was like, this is adjustable in theory only. I have not proven the adjustability of it, because only I have ever worn it. So that was really fascinating because I got to see how well some of my clothing adjusted to other sizes. And then I also just gave them several of the things that I'd made. So it's like once I've made it, I'm fairly happy to give it to somebody else. But making it for someone else stresses me out. So I have not done that yet. I don't think I have made something specifically for another person since I worked in theater, which was 2015, maybe a little bit into 2016, but I don't think I sewed for that one at all. The last show that I did was Long Day's Journey into Night, and I don't think I sewed a single thing for that. I think I sourced all of it. Just boring. I didn't like costuming that show. It wasn't a fun time period for me to costume, especially on low budget, where you just kind of have to figure stuff out and get like random Mother of the Bride dresses and pretend that it came from 1890 or 1910 or whenever that show is. Good times. And we are almost through the knit pile. Mostly bigger scraps. I think I did kind of pre-clean out most of the tiny scraps from here, which is very helpful. Tiny, 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 tiny. That's a long one. This is also future project video. Something you'll see soon. Ooh, I'm gonna save these. And that is all tiny stuff. Tiny pile is currently tiny. So, there's all my knit scraps of what I would call medium size. They go in the basket. I'm not going to drag it over. The basket that's in front of my sewing machine. Oh God. Which is also now getting very full. Good Lord. I need to commit to my knit scrap project idea very soon, because I think it could use quite a few of these up. Cool. One pile down. Yeah, don't feel too bad about throwing away scraps. Sometimes you could donate them if you have one of the creative reuse stores near you. I don't think they want like tiny scraps, but most of the ones that I've been in have like scrap bins, often where they just give away the fabric for free. So if anybody wants scraps, they can go there and get them. You were such a good boy. But yeah, you can check with your local one. Some of them will say no, they don't take scraps, but some of them will. So then you could donate some of them. Let's check in on the chat. Could you start with shorts for him? Yeah, I think that's the thing we were more interested in making, because it's pretty easy to find him t-shirts that he enjoys wearing. So, and like, since I don't have a serger, making a t-shirt is actually kind of difficult. So that was the thing that we said I should try making him, is either shorts or like a pair of joggers, a pair of sweatpants. Oh, bloop, boop, boo. Yeah, my partner is autistic and only one's black and one texture, so quite boring. Yeah, some of us just have very limited things. Mine is more sensory than color. I'm pretty okay with wearing tons of color, obviously, if you've been around. But like, ooh, the texture of fabric. It's a lot, man. Yeah, I prefer making people accessories. Yeah, if you make some kind of accessories, if you make bags or scrunchies or something like that, that's so much easier to make for other people. Because then you can just be like, what color do you want? What type of this do you want? You can really personalize it to their preference because it's more about like the fabric and everything. And you don't have to be stressing out about whether it will fit them. Like, I have that whole thing where I feel bad if I think that another person feels bad. So I'd be worried that like it wouldn't fit them and then they would feel bad that it doesn't fit them because they would feel like I felt bad that they felt bad. You know, it would be a lot of that back and forth of like, not only does it not fit you, but also like we're just sitting here feeling bad for each other. I try to avoid situations like that. It's a lot. Lots of people who are sewing without their clothes on. It just makes more sense, y'all. Like, when you get to that trying on stage of some garments, you have to put it on so many times, and sometimes I'll convince myself to not try it on and check something that I really should because I don't feel like getting undressed and I'm so lazy about that stuff. And so it's like, well, just sew naked, man. If you're alone in your room, why not? Bloop, bloop, bloop. If I started a sewing channel, it would need to be posted on OnlyFans. That'd be a type of content. Woo! Have you ever made shorts or shorts built into a skirt dress? I've made shorts. I don't think I've made a skirt yet. No. But I've made a lot of shorts. There was a whole video where I made a whole lot of shorts. Woohoo! Just wondering how many floating puppy hairs have accidentally been seen in your projects. Everything has dog fur on it. And I just am used to that. Although I will say, it's been interesting, again, having grown up with cats, he's pretty long-furred and he sheds pretty heavily, but it feels very different the way his fur is around the house than it did with the cat fur. Like, I remember it being a couple years after I left for college and like wasn't at home and wasn't around cats anymore that I would still like pull a shirt out of a drawer and be like, oh, there's cat fur on this. And it just seemed like it stuck to clothing a lot more. You'd get the clothes out of the dryer and they would still have cat fur all over them. And his, like, there are certain materials that I wear that I'm like, oh god, this is a dog fur magnet. But it just felt like everything was a cat fur magnet, and it doesn't seem that way with him. I don't know if it's like I'm just not seeing the color as much, but we had a black and white cat, so it should be the exact same color. I don't know. His fur definitely, like, I loved having cats when we were kids. I love cats. But, like, I was annoyed by their fur sometimes, whereas his fur doesn't really annoy me. Which is interesting. I don't know. I think it's just different types of fur. Sticks to different things differently. Who is to say? Why do I never see you zigzagging the seam ends to finish them? Because I don't care enough to. On knit fabric, I just leave the seam ends open, or like the raw edges, I just leave them. They don't unravel that fast. So it's an extra step that is not super necessary to me. On woven stuff, I would prefer to just do a seam finish like French seams rather than zigzag the raw edges of the fabric. It's like either way you're having to sew an extra seam, and I'd rather just go with the one that fully encases the raw seam. And like French seams aren't that hard, so it's just a personal preference. But yeah, zigzagging on your machine is totally an option. Absolutely an option. Goldfish fart. I love that we're going back to that. You made a petticoat. Vastly overbought on tulle. Tulle's a nice thing to like have in your stash. It's kind of nice to always have a little bit of extra on there. Three-quarter sleeves drive you crazy. See, for me, it's long sleeves. Like stuff touching my wrist is so annoying to me. Ooh, it's so annoying. So I'll pull everything up. Right here doesn't bother me as much, but like, I don't know, my wrists are delicate. They don't like that feeling. Yes, if anyone's just joining and the focus is weird for you, I think the camera's just being weird today. 'Tis what it is. It is weird because on my screen, I can see that it's blurry, but on my camera screen, that's why I keep being confused. The camera screen itself is not showing a focus problem, but the monitor on my computer screen is. So it's probably something in the connection or the settings. I'll try to figure it out before the next live stream, but y'all, this is why I say the tech of live streams overwhelmed me for literally like a year. It's why I've been avoiding it, because I swear there's just always some issue. And trying to figure out what causes it is like, ugh, it's a lot. Yeah, I don't. That's so weird. Have you considered spinning his fur? Not necessarily spinning it. Well, yes, because like Evie and I talked about spinning fur. I don't know if I specifically would spin it because I'm just not that good at that craft yet, but I have started saving his fur, specifically not just like every random bit that I found around the house, because it's often mixed with dust and dirt, but I always brush him after a bath because he sheds crazily then, and I get off like a good clump of fur. I've started saving that fur because it's nice and clean. It's all going in a canister, and when I have a lot, might come up with some sort of project to do with it. The first thought of using fur from your pet in something was weird to me. I remember having a conversation about it with some friends, and I was like, oh, that's super weird. And then I was like, wait a minute. Isn't like cashmere bunny fur? Like if it's a kind of fur that you can get from an animal while they're still alive that they're shedding naturally, then why not use that? Use your resources. The dog's name is Link for the person who asked. Oh, a bunch of you answered. I'm way up in the chat at this point. Please fix the camera. I don't think it's the camera. I think it's the program, and I can't really fix it without ending the live stream and going and doing a bunch of research on why it happened. So just pretend it's the 1990s. When all footage looked like this. Tech is pain. Tech is a pain. Yes, it is. Especially when Matt's not home, so I can't just be like, fix this for me. Why is it happening? Make it better. I have to actually use my own brain for tech. My brain don't like tech. It say no. Have you considered felting his fur? I think felting would be more up my alley. I haven't tried felting at all yet. But felting his fur seems like it would be a lot of fun, interesting to try, etc. Let's go through another pile. All right, so we're separating between tiny scraps and medium scraps. Medium scraps go in the trunk to be used for future projects. Is this a tiny scrap or a medium scrap? I used this fabric recently but the thing I made with it didn't turn out as good as I wanted it to, which is a little sad. I could probably fix it. I'll put it on my list. Things to consider fixing. I'm going to call this a tiny scrap because if I cut it into a square, it would be like 2 by 2 inches. That's a pretty small square. Now I'm just debating over how big is tiny and how big is not. Good times, y'all, good times. I think most of this is going to be technically medium scraps. Oh, except maybe this. Ugh. Yeah, I'm going to call all of this tiny because it's in like really thin pieces. Like that's such a weird shape. I kind of think of in terms of squares because usually with patchwork, you're wanting to get like a square or a rectangle out of it. So if you can't get like a 2 by 2 square, then tiny scrap. Oh, there's lots of tiny scraps in here. Okay. Next. Oh, that's my little bog coat tester piece. No. Sometimes. Sometimes I am tempted to shove clothing onto you, but I know you would hate it so much. Okay, that's all tiny. For anyone who is newly joined, we are going through fabric scraps today and separating them by size and fabric type. So exciting! Okay. I think one thing I dislike about scraps is how incredibly crazy a single piece can get and still be connected. I'm starting to just chop through little thin things when I'm cutting them up. This is connected by a single thread right here. And at some point it's like, you gotta get rid of all the little stringies and just hold on to the slightly bigger piece. Otherwise, your scrap stuff, ooh, this counts as a large scrap. That is enough to fold up and put away. But see, it's got all this stuff on the end, and I just need to cut some of this off. Because it's like, is that going to be helpful to you when you're cutting something out? No, it's not. Get rid of the stringy bits. Make it easier to store. Alright, that's getting set aside to go back in the cabinet. That's a good size B piece. Could make something decently big out of that. This is such a nice color of yellow. Like, I like the color yellow in general, but this is like that very golden, honey-ish kind of yellow, although honey is not really that color, but it makes me think of honey. Or maybe it's just the bees. Okay. Another one done. One more pile to go. Ooh. We've just got the wovens left. See, now I'm wondering if this is the weird thing with tech. It's like OBS, the program, auto-focused and then like locked the focus when I was right here, because now it's not that blurry. But the camera itself is still adjusting to the different locations, the different depths. And OBS is just like, nah, you started here, you have to stay here forever. Which, like, maybe that's a thing? I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Every time you finish a live stream, you have something else to research later. It's good times. Tiny scrap pile. Let's put the whale back. Hello, Bubby. Hi. Look, you've got a thread coming out of your mouth. Where'd that come from, huh? What a mystery. Where would threads come from in here? That's some intense scratchies. Look at that butt. He's forever just like right below frame. Except when I'm doing final product filming, then he's usually right in frame. And there's just a little lump of black fur in the corner. Yeah, you need another bath. Oh, I said the word bath. Now he will attack the face. Hi. Is that a big no-no? Yeah. Okay. You want to see what people say? Why aren't you good at everything, Charlie? I wish, man. Sometimes when I am annoyed that I'm not very good with tech, I'm like, you know what? If I was good at tech stuff, I probably wouldn't be as good at, you know, I don't want to say creative stuff, because I think tech stuff technically is creative. I think the term creativity applies to a lot more than people think. But, you know, like, you can't have everything. You can't be good at everything. So, I will happily continue to struggle with tech. Can you recommend a super simple pattern for a total beginner sewist? So, that's a lot of shakies we're doing. Do you have itchy ear? Do you want me to scratch it for you? Oh, yeah. He's doing scratchy face. No one can see your scratchy face because it's way below here. So when it comes to beginning sewing, my recommendation is always to start with a project that you care about, but you don't care too much about. So, like a lot of things that I've heard is like some people will say, sew a tote bag first, or sew a pillowcase first. And I think those are great ideas unless you personally give zero craps about those things. Like, I'm not really a tote bag kind of person, so I didn't have any interest in starting with a tote bag. I don't really do decorative pillows unless it's in the guest bedroom, so I wasn't really interested in starting with that. The thing that interested me with sewing was garment sewing specifically. So I needed to start with a garment, or else I wouldn't have cared enough and it would have been boring to me, you know? So I think start by asking yourself, what are you the most interested in sewing as far as like the overall category? Are you interested in quilting? Do you want to sew stuffed animals? Like, what is your overall category biggest interest? And then look for the thing that is the simplest in that category. So for me, it was starting with skirts. It's literally like, I think my first one was a single piece of fabric with a waistband. And I ended up making it a wrap skirt because I made it too big, and like, you make it work kind of thing. But it could also be shorts, especially if you want to sew from patterns. Making like a pair of elastic waist shorts can be super simple if you're using a pattern and it already has that inseam done for you. I am not really the person to suggest patterns because I don't use them. So like the only pattern I ever really use is McCall 7349. And honestly, it just got lucky. It's a style that I like, the princess seams, the raglan sleeves, the fact that it's supposed to be done in knit. But it also just magically fit me really well the first time that I made it, which is not true of everyone. People have told me that they made that pattern and it did not fit them at all. So like, that's how it's going to be with patterns. Something that works super well for one person and was really easy might not work at all for somebody else because you just have a different body shape and a different type. And then it doesn't fit you the same, and so you're having to make a bunch of adjustments. So yeah, I'm not really the person to give specific pattern recommendations, but my overall recommendation is think about what category you want to make the most, and then think about what is the simplest thing in that category. Whew. Oh, Kashmir is goat, Angora is bunny. See how much I know about textures, or not textures, textiles, fibers? Not good with that stuff. Cat is having a dream. Oh my god, I love it when animals have dreams and wiggle. It always, I don't know, every time he does it, I'm always like, and I just sit there and stare at him for a little bit. My hubby is IT for his company. He won't fix my tech because he does it all day. I mean, that's lightly fair. It's kind of the same thing with like, you know, if I sew all day, I don't really want to also sew for you. And we do try to go both ways. You know, Matt helps me with my tech a lot, but I tried to actually be there and like learn from him as he's doing it. And then he needed some pants hemmed one time and I made him do all the measuring and the marking and the turning up. And then I did most of them, but I did have him sit down at the machine and sew one of them around. And it was really interesting because I've been using a sewing machine my whole life, even though I didn't start garment sewing until a couple years ago. My mom was a sewist, very avid sewist. So like knowing how to use a sewing machine, like I don't remember when I learned. I just at some point learned how to use a sewing machine. So it's always really interesting to sit down with someone who's literally never touched a sewing machine and be reminded of what is weird or new or unexpected for them. Because for me, it's just like, well, yeah, you just do that. Like the thing I'm learning with sewing is not really how to use my machine. It's how to manipulate fabric. But yeah, it was interesting to have Matt sit down at the sewing machine and like feel weird and nervous about it when like he'll sit down at a computer and be like bang 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 and I'm like you're gonna break it and he's like no, it's fine. So it's always funny how different people are depending on what they've been doing their whole lives. Chances of ever reading, discussing Sir Terry Pratchett books. Absolutely chances. I mean, I would love to read all the way through Discworld. Discworld? Yes. I momentarily wanted to call it Dickworld. That's a different kind of series. Right now, though, because I just started reading modern books so recently, my priority is to read as many different authors as possible. I'm trying to really not repeat authors super frequently. I'm trying not to read many series. I'm trying to get a lot of different experience with different authors and different time periods and different genres and stuff like that. And once I feel like I've gotten an idea of what my preferences and everything, I'm sure I'll sit down and read a bunch of his books, because I know from the one that I read, whose name is fleeting my mind at the moment, I know that I'll enjoy his writing. I can guarantee I will enjoy his writing. So it's kind of nice to just have those there and be like, I can read that at some point. But yeah, just it's not like top priority right now. Do you have enough long, thin strips of scraps that you could braid them into something? Well, I could make a bunch of long, thin scraps. That is the project idea I have. When I did the silly hat that I made out of braided scraps, which was a lot of fun, I had several other ideas for similar styles of like braiding your scraps projects. So a lot of those are on the list. How high up on the list is the question. But yeah, like the rugs that you can make out of scraps, those are so cool. It's one of those things where for me, I don't really feel the need for a rug like that. I don't know, maybe I just need to make one and see what it's like. It feels too high for me. I don't really like a lot of different textures under my feet. But then like, you know, I did the moss rug and I just don't ever really step on that. It's in the corner of my office and I don't walk over it. It's like there to look at in the distance. Or a rag rug basket. Yeah, you can make a basket out of it. Also, like, when it comes to using the light scraps, the really light, thin woven materials like I did for the hat, do I want to make an entire garment using braids like that? Oh, you know I do. I really do. OBS should have no impact on the focus. That's what I think. That's why I'm very confused about this. I'll find out before next one. Ah, Christine had a similar problem. I'm friends with Christine. I'll ask her. Does Link like baths? No. We've gotten him to the point where he tolerates them, even to the point where I can tell him to go get in the shower and he'll walk in himself and sit there and then look at me with his very sad eyes as though I'm destroying his life. He's such a little picky butt. Did you ever look up Craftcation? I don't know that I did. I got several comments about different kind of conferences and stuff on that video, and I should have written them all down as I went, which is something I have to do. Anytime like I ask for information in comments, people provide it, and I need to like be prepared for that when I go read the comments so I can actually like note everything. I don't think I looked that up. I need to go back and actually look up some of the things that people suggested on there, because people suggested a lot of interesting things. Have you ever tried a PDF pattern? That Bootstraps dress form was a PDF pattern. That is the only time I think I've used one. I gotta admit, didn't love the process. I think it's just something you have to get used to. The whole process of having to print out and cut out and tape together your pattern. I already don't love, and I think I've complained about this when I've used a like store-bought pattern in videos. Already just the added process of having to cut out the pattern from the pattern paper. I'm like, ugh, why do I have to do this? Because I'm just not used to that being a part of the creative process when I self-draft so much. Instead, I'm used to like scribbling a bunch of stuff on paper and like doing a bunch of math and staring off into the distance. To me, I'm used to that being part of my creative process. I'm not used to having to sit there and like cut stuff and tape it together, which is entirely still part of the creative process. And if you're used to that, then you're just like, this is part of it, you know? Turn on a podcast, turn on an audiobook, have fun. But for me, it just feels a little foreign. And so it was like, why do I have to do this? Super random, but were you an extra in the pit? Yeah, I was. Did you spot me? I haven't seen it yet. I need to go see if I can find myself. Did I look terrifying? That was the show I was filming when I did the video on the second channel about what it's like to be background. And I, content warning, played a corpse. It was really cool. The makeup process was really, really cool. But yeah, you might have seen me. The Sewing Bee is free on US Roku now. I should get Roku. I think there's a couple things on Roku now. Have you ever thought of making homemade paper using plants that you have in your backyard? No, because I didn't know you could make it with plants in the backyard, but that'll go on the list now. I have thought about making homemade paper. It's one of those things that I'd like to look up some different processes, because I know you can make paper out of fabric scraps. But yeah, I'll have to add to that little exploration series, see which plants in my backyard I can turn into paper. Are you on Storygraph? I don't know what that is, so I'm going to say no. What's the stream for? If you joined us, I am technically going through my fabric scraps, just very slowly. We have one pile left. I need to separate it into medium and tiny, which I will do in a minute, because I think we've already been here for a hot second. How long is the list? You don't want to know. You probably do want to know. I don't even know. There's like 4 different versions of the list now, and it's so long. It's to the point where there are definitely ideas on there that I'm never going to make because I'm no longer interested in that. 3 years ago, when I first started making project vlog style videos, there were things that I really wanted to do, and I was so excited to do. And over time, you lose interest in certain things. You also learn more about yourself. Like, I have learned in the last several years of sewing garments that I am not super interested in trying to replicate any existing garment. So I think way back in a video where I was like cleaning out my fabric closet in the last house that we were in, I talked about like this stack of fabric I had that was specifically for existing dresses that I wanted to replicate. Like, I know one of them was the yellow dress from the old movie Brigadoon, which I still think is a gorgeous dress, and like if I could just put on that dress and go spin around and take some pictures in it, I'd be like, woohoo. But I have learned that I actually don't have much interest in trying to replicate that dress myself. And I think if I forced myself to do it because I like the dress and because I think it would be fun to wear that dress, I think taking that and translating it into, therefore I must make it myself, would not end well for me. And I would really, my guess is, from what I've learned about myself, I would really dislike the actual making process, which for me personally is the more important thing. People have different priorities, and that's perfectly fine. For some people, having the final product is a really big priority, and if it sucks getting there, that's okay with them, and that's perfectly fine. But for me personally, the making part is the more exciting part. So, all of that to say, I think there was like part of my list is like dresses that I want to replicate and stuff. And it's like, that's still on my list. I haven't like deleted it off the list, but I am probably never going to do that because I have now learned that I don't actually want to do that. So the list is very, very long because I don't delete things off of it unless I do them, but not everything on it is ever going to get done. Are you planning on making a patchwork garment again? Yes, very soon. I kind of forgot that it's like an annual thing. Or actually, like, I wasn't planning for it to be an annual thing, but like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or so, I was like, I should make another patchwork project now. And I got a specific idea of what to do, and then I was like, oh, it's been like a year since I did my last one. Comes in waves. Bloop, boop, boo. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to get started on it. I have a couple other ones that I want to get done before I start on it, but... Boop, boop. What is Link's current favorite snack? Anything and everything. That kid loves to eat food that is not his actual food. He likes his actual food at the moment. A lot. He goes through different stages. But he likes food that is not his food even better. How cool would a braided scrap trim look on a solid garment? It would look so cool. Imagine, like, okay, I have to just grab this hat so that I can use it as an example. Oh, Lord. But, like, the colors of this are so cool. The mix of colors, even if it was different colors, like how the colors mix with each other is so cool. So if you had like a black garment or like a denim garment and you used scrappy braid trim all over it, it would look amazing. It would look stunning. Let's wear the hat briefly. I need to go through this hat, actually. I was looking at it the other day. I need to go through and tighten all of my stitches that are holding it together. Because you can see little bits of gaps in between, and you can see all my stitching, and I think I just didn't pull it tight enough when I was actually sewing it. Just to make sure that it, you know, everything is fine, lasts longer, and does not fall apart. Where do you track reading? In my own personal spreadsheet. And I don't track a lot, I just put down the title, the author, and the year that I read it, and then whether it was a yes or a no for me. Will there be a VOD of this stream? Video on demand? If you're asking if I'm going to save this one on the channel, yes. So that everybody can complain in the comments that it's blurry. Woo! This is why I was doing tests, because then when people watch stuff back later, if like your tech wasn't perfect, then you just get complaints in the comments, which is fine. But that's why I didn't save the test ones. But it wasn't enough tests apparently, because we're still having good old tech issues. Doo-boop-a-doo. Which episode of The Pit? I feel like I knew when I did it, but I don't know anymore. Sorry. Maybe somebody else did it. What is your second channel called? It's just my name, Charlie Neebe, and it's linked in every single description of every video. So easy little click. For those of us who live on the other side of the world, the fact that you can be in movies and TV is wild, weird, and awesome. I still think it's wild, weird, and awesome being here. Like, yeah, you get used to being on set, but I am still just like watching everything when I'm on set, especially when I'm actually on set, because like being on set where you're actually filming is different than being on set like you're in holding, and it's just a weird room, and you're all just sitting there reading. But yeah, like, I still find it amazing as well. Movies and film and, like, anything on screen is really fascinating to watch happen because there are so many people and so many moving parts. And after a while, you can kind of tell if things are going well or not. You can tell how good the leadership is. I usually, like, once I get on set, I start trying to identify all the different roles because, like, let's be real, in all the time I've done background work, I think there has been one time that the director walked up and introduced themselves to the background. Usually, like, no one talks to us except the people who have to talk to us. So I'll sit there and, like, try to pick out who is the director. That is sometimes really hard to find out. Who's the script coordinator? Who are the producers? Like, try to pick out all of this stuff and then, like, gauge how smoothly everything is going and how good the leadership is. I usually, like, immediately clock how many women there are on set, and it's so cool when you're on a set that actually has like 50% or more women. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really cool being on set, and like, I'm not a person who necessarily gets over that. There's definitely times when you're like, oh my god, can I go home? Especially if it's a hot one. There was one I did where I was military, so I was in full military gear, and it was, I think it was August, and we were out in the full sun. I'm not sure I've ever sweated that much in my life, but like, people were getting woozy. It was that bad, and those are the days when you're like, okay, I'm done with this. Can we go home, please? Can this be over for today? But yeah, like, in general, it's a really cool concept. And not because, like, oh, there's, like, celebrities on set. That's kind of the most boring part. I think that's the easy thing for people to be like, you were next to, like, a famous actor, and it's like, girl, they show up, like, right before their scene, and then they leave again. That's the boring part. The interesting part is all of the normies, all of the actual people who make it happen. Like, watching props people do their job, because y'all, the props department is always like 500% prepared, like over prepared. Props has everything. If you ever walk past a prop truck and get to look inside, it's so cool. Wardrobe is everywhere. Like, there's so much going on. Lighting people, I'm always watching the lighting people, and it'll be like the sun has slightly moved, and so they're like, this goes up, and this goes here, and this goes here, and this goes here, because we have to make the lighting match. And I'm like, how do you know how to do that? I'm so bad with lighting. So yeah, it's really fascinating to watch a big group of people work together to do a certain thing. It's just fascinating. You need an old blender to make paper. Yeah, I have seen that. Might do a little digging through a thrift store. Is it sewing machine cleaning season? I actually cleaned it fairly recently. And as I'm saying that, I'm realizing what feels fairly recent to me might have actually been 6 months ago. Oh, Lord. Who do you binge on YouTube? Whose release schedule are you keeping a close eye on? Binging someone on YouTube kind of requires them to be new to you, because I know a lot of people do rewatch YouTube videos, which is awesome. God, we love you. I don't really rewatch YouTube videos. So binging requires you to find somebody new, and it's been a little while since I think the last person I binged was Ash Bentley. But yeah, like, that kind of requires you to find somebody new so you can binge their whole backlog. Who am I keeping an eye on their regular schedules? Let me think. Ash Bentley, Breathing Yarn. I just saved a video to watch later, like right before I started this. Who was it? There are those commentary people that, like, Drew Gooden, Chad. I'm always, you know, I see right away if they've posted. The Wizard's Keep. Love that. There's a few. That's who I can think of right now. Oh, I gotta catch up a little here. Okay. What item of clothing you've made is your favorite, but you don't get to wear it much? I mean, how about, like, favorite, but I never wear it, the Snow Queen gown? Freaking loved that one. I still love that one. But it is one of the few costumes I've made. It is just full on a costume, and a warm one at that. So I have not worn that again since I did the video and took pictures in it. But I love that one. Oh. It is comfy. It's a warm, big costume, but it is a comfortable one. So it would be super fun to wear that again. But I think that's the thing with making costumes, is you don't have much reason to wear them, which is why I prefer to make everyday clothing that I can wear frequently. I ran into a Hallmark movie wardrobe entourage in the park by my house the other day. A lot of movies are getting made in Canada now. Canada has actually become a really big movie-making hub. Several of the cities there. All right, we're gonna do the last pile. I'm gonna get blurry again because I'm gonna move away from the camera. We gotta get this done though. Are you glaring at me in the distance there? He's giving me side eye. Are you gonna come cuddle? Oh, that was a big stretch. You are such a good boy. How are we all doing on water drinking? Drink! Okay. So, again, for anyone new, we're just separating scraps today, so I can put them in my scrap storage bin. It is just medium scraps versus small scraps. Can it be used again for something in the future, even if that something is smallish? I will say I need the scraps that are not patchwork style scraps to be a little bigger, because like the smallest thing I can think of needing from them is like a pocket or maybe a piece of binding. So yeah, I will toss smaller scraps into the small scrap bag, if that makes sense. This one is not bright colors. What have I been making lately? It's like my black and brown fabrics in here. I should have brought scissors down here. Some of these just need to be snipped into 2 parts. Oh, that was like a magic trick. Okay. Oh my god, this is just like shreds, because it's what I cut my, oh yeah, it's what I cut my avocado pillow mock-up out of. So it was a bunch of like leaf-shaped pieces. So then you just got all of these fabric shreds. Good lord. This looks like some legit cabbage soup down here. It's just like a bunch of little but not super little stuff. That's where it starts getting hard. But like, you know, that's still pocket-sized. Theoretically, I think that probably was a pocket that I decided was too small. This is the problem with not having background music, is I do have a natural tendency to create my own background music. Full on Kronk. He's singing his own theme song. All right, this is all feeling really small-ish. It is like tossing a salad. I am gonna call the rest of this small scraps and put it in the small scrap bin. Okay. So, that's what we ended up with. Pile of tiny scraps. And then those go in the closet. Those go in the trunk that is behind you. Ah! Hey, baby! Oh, upside downies. Look at that paw in the air. Such a good baby. You're halfway behind a mountain of cabbage. Goodness. You're so precious. Okay. Come back, my screen. Boop. I love you. You're a good baby. Yes, I do. You're such a good baby. Okay. We are gonna wrap this up in a minute because the fabric has been sorted. The whale is empty. Huzzah! Be nice to start fresh there. Ooh, I am feeling little phantom threads touching me. Ah, lordy. I'm surprised you didn't say Rachel Maxey. Oh yeah, I keep up with her. I almost forget because like those kind of just come up automatically. You need to go to Minnesota in winter. Yeah, I know. I mean, I would still love to get pictures of the Snow Queen gown in some actual snow. But also, like, it's the kind of thing that I'm like, I wouldn't mind maybe not actually giving that one to someone else because I do like it. But I wouldn't mind, like, lending it to someone else to go get pictures in because... Is that a good enough description? I don't know, the whole process of like taking pictures and stuff is a whole thing. It is something that I think would be really cool to start, not me start, somebody else start. I don't want to do this. But I was talking to Ariel about this. I was like, somebody should start a business where like YouTubers who make stuff but like are done wearing it can send it all to like one hub and then it can be rented out from there to people so that, you know, you don't just have stuff sitting there forever. Because quite honestly, even the Snow Queen gown, I think I'd like to wear it again and maybe get pictures in it again. And then after that, it's like, I'm probably good. Somebody else could have this now. Which everyday clothing item you've made do you hate the most and needs to be repurposed? Honestly, if I straight up don't like it and I'm not gonna wear it, it goes right up into the top of my closet to be considered fabric again. So if I hate it the most, it's just not even in my like rework thing. Or it's not like I would try to fix the garment. It's more of being considered, can I use that fabric for something else completely different? There is one that like needs to be fixed the most for one that I love. The black dress I made that has like a wide strip of elastic in the middle here. I wear that dress all the frickin' time and it is technically not great in the bust. Like I am always fiddling with it when I wear it and I need to just take the shoulders up or readjust how it is sewn down right here. It wouldn't be that hard of a fix. but I keep wearing the dress even though it has not been fixed. Yeah, you can wear things even when they're not right. I really, really love it. At some point, I think I'll kind of gather together several things that need to be fixed or mended and do another video of like doing that. Making a video on it is a great way to convince myself to do things. You're very good at lives. Well, thank you. Once I figure out the tech side of it, then we'll be golden, y'all. I started my sewing journey with Made to Sew 101 series. I'm assuming that's like a pattern series? That's great. That's a great recommendation. Made to Sew 101. Did I detect a Father Ted reference? Not a purposeful one, because I don't know what that is. Drink is just like anytime you're playing a drinking game. Go drink! How do you maintain the motivation to film? It is harder with long-term projects. I'm always excited to start a new project and to start filming a new project, so that part is not hard. The longer a project goes on, especially when I didn't expect it to go on that long, so I didn't go into it with any sort of plan, the harder it becomes to film because I'm actively thinking about the video when I am filming. I am actively thinking about what is the story? How is this all cutting together? How am I going to edit it down? And if I lose the plot, like if I lose track of where I am in the video and what the storyline is and what my plan for editing is, then it throws me off a lot because then I'm suddenly like, I don't know what to film anymore. Like, I've been doing this long enough. At the beginning, I just kind of had to film everything. You just had to have the camera on all the time and you would end up with so much footage because I didn't know yet what my style of video was and what the, we could say tropes, I guess, what the tropes of editing I was going to be using would be. So you just had to film everything and figure it out as you went. And editing took way longer because of that too. I've been doing this long enough now, I have a style to my videos that generally I know how I'm planning to edit a video together. I know what storyline I'm planning to have through it. And so I know I can stop filming here because I don't need to show this. Or I can take off my lav mic at this part and just do filming without good sound because there's gonna be voiceover on this part. And that makes it so much easier because usually with every project, I try to make sure that there's some downtime where I'm working on the project and I'm not filming it. You don't need to see every single step and every single stitch and every single little thing I'm doing in a video, one, because it's not a tutorial, two, because it would be boring. So having those moments in a project where I'm not filming really helps get the project done, or even where I'm filming and I'm not talking. Because I don't mind just like having a camera pointed at me for like 30 minutes because I'm gonna cut 10 seconds of that out. I don't mind that. Sometimes I keep filming when I know I don't need the footage because if something naturally happens, like some big mistake or even like, I don't know, one time I accidentally like threw my water bottle up against the wall and it was just funny. So a lot of times I'll keep filming just for the sake of those moments, then like I catch them if they happen. But yeah, like knowing that I don't have to film at this point or the footage that I'm filming right now I probably won't use is very helpful for getting a project done. And when a project keeps going for a long time and I am no longer able to just immediately know in my brain what this footage is for, it gets way harder to film the video. And I think that's actually the best I've ever worded that, because this has happened in several videos. I think this happened recently in a video. And like usually if I get halfway through the video and I start to say something on camera like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore, or I've lost the plot, or this is taking a long time. Like if I start saying anything like that in the middle of a video, it's because I've lost track of my editing plan. And that's throwing me off on the making side. You really do have to have double brain when you are a YouTuber, because you're not just thinking about how am I making this thing, I need to problem solve the project issues, but you're also simultaneously thinking, how am I editing this? How is this going to flow? How is it going to be interesting? It's a lot for your brain to handle at one time, and it's a slow process to get better at that. I am still getting better at it, but I would say it took probably, I would say 2 years before I felt like I had it a little, and I am still having to get better at it. So I hope that answered your question. We are gonna wrap this up pretty soon. Oh, let's see how the music thing is going. Silence is winning. Cool. Silence is less work for me. We're gonna stick with silence for now then. Have you seen Nerd Forge? Of course I have. I'll be honest, I don't really consistently watch their videos. This is not at all a criticism. It is just a personal preference. The high energy that they do is not something that, like, I personally love. So I don't watch a ton of them. But that's okay. Not everything is made for me. A lot of people who comment on YouTube videos would do grand to remember that not everything is made for you. Y'all are great! Do you watch Ash Bentley? Yes, I do! She's amazing. I love her craziness. Rental hub for costumes! Yeah. It'd be cool, wouldn't it? Freaks me out when you read my comments. Are you freaked out? Sounds like you need a producer. Well, no, I don't need a producer because I do that all myself. Also, generally speaking, at least this is my opinion as a YouTuber, you want to avoid paying other people to work for you for as long as possible, because the income from this job is not reliable. I'm not going to say it's not good. It can be quite good, but it's not reliable. So if you start paying somebody else to work for you, you're taking on a lot of responsibility. So I'm just going to keep getting better at being my own producer. Link looks so tuckered out. I know, and he's done nothing all day. Look at your little squished face. He's so good at sleeping. I wish I was good at sleeping like he is. Do you watch Retro Claude? I was just watching Retro Claude yesterday. Her videos are like perfect when I'm doing like some long hand sewing stuff. Her voice is so calming and delightful. Carly B, yes, she's a delight. She's adorable. Her stuff is amazing. Okay. I've caught up on chat, so we're gonna we're gonna wrap this up. I think it's been a few hours. My fabric is officially separated. The whale is empty. I can go back to dumping stuff in there. I do have some editing to do though, so we're gonna wrap this up. Before I go, real quick, because yes, I have been scrolling through the entire chat. I know it's done with good intentions, but I will just say, please do not feel a need to defend me or get into arguments in the chat on my behalf. I personally would rather just pass by things that could be inciting of negativity or of argument or anything like that. It's very easy for me to just pass by that. I've been doing this for years. I'm used to comments that are negative or uncomfortable, and I'm used to going by that. But we don't need to use those to start a whole thing in the chat. I don't currently have a moderator, and I would prefer to not use moderators because moderators have to take on a lot of responsibility to decide what actually gets pushed through to me. I'd prefer to be able to scroll through and see all of your comments. However, if stuff is going to be started in the chat, I will have to take on a moderator, and they will be feeding things to me, and I will only see what they choose to feed to me. So just keep in mind with live streams, I think it's good for everybody to remember that there are people who show up to incite argument. You do not have to engage with them. There are people who just say something you may think is inflammatory or even is insulting to me. It's okay. You don't need to defend me. We can breeze past that. I'm used to being insulted. Let's be real. I'm on YouTube. I'm used to things happening. We don't need to start arguments in the chat. I would love for live streams to be a safe and comfortable place where we can talk about projects and the heat and our fabrics and lovely things and just kind of have a nice time together. So, for future reference, let's just try not to engage with things that are inflammatory. We don't have to do that. That's a choice we get to make. I would ask you, please make the choice not to engage. That way we can continue having chats and live streams that are delightful and comforting and enjoyable and not arguments. So, thank you for that. Thank you for being here. I've been putting off organizing my fabric for so long. It is done now, and I'm very happy that it's done now. So, doing live streams, I think, is going to be very helpful for those projects that I'm like, ugh, I don't really want to work on that right now. But if I can sit down with a bunch of you here and answer your questions and do some chatting in between and just show my progress and stuff, I think it'll be very good for encouraging me to actually do those projects. And it's really nice to get to just sit here and chat with you guys. So, I hope all of you guys have an absolutely lovely day. Say goodbye to the very sleepy puppy. Boop. Oh, he's gonna do more upside downies. Yeah. Oh, look at the stretches. Always the paws in the air. He has such long, skinny legs. Anytime he does paw in the air, it's just hilarious. And next time, hopefully I will have fixed the focus issue.